Hello, Earth System Science. Welcome to your weekly agenda for the week of September the 7th. This week also has Labor Day in it, so we are down essentially a day in some of our meetings. So this week's going to turn into a little bit of catch-up time or extended time on what we started last week, which was the Scientific Process Challenge. And so a reminder, do not forget to check your grades. Do not forget to, if you complete anything late, let me know about it. And also don't forget to sign up to share your profile slides so we can get all those knocked out. And with that, I will jump into the week, this is our post. Okay, so 4 things on the agenda, most of them to do with the Scientific Process Challenge. If you were gone last week, I'm going to do a very brief run through now on that challenge, and also maybe to double check if you were here that you're doing things correctly. But during synchronous time this week, you are going to be joining a group. We call it our Collaborative Study Group, CSG, and you're going to be kind of sharing your progress, asking some questions, getting to know some people in the class in a smaller setting. We're going to experiment and see if it works. Okay, and so the goal by next week is to have your challenge completely done and ready to present those challenges in your small group. Okay, groups of 4 or so. So this is the STEM challenge. This is the choice board. You should have, and if you didn't, you should have chosen one of these challenges. And the goal was to use the scientific method to solve the challenge. Okay, so an example, challenge the marshmallow structure, right? That is using spaghetti and marshmallows. What is the tallest structure you can construct using them? Okay, using a specific number. So that is really where you put your first slide, right? So I'm going to run through your student choice slides really quick. Starts with a problem statement. You pull this problem statement directly off of the challenge, right? So if you notice here, I said, what is the tallest structure I construct using spaghetti noodles and marshmallows, right? Slide 2 is where you start doing research with your materials, experiment with materials, write down what happens, find YouTubes, find videos, and cite your sources. Okay, so this, I started writing an example while bending several spaghetti noodles. I noticed that if I put more than 3 together, they're much stronger. I found that, if they got too thick or too many together, then it was just too hard, or I used too many. You also could find YouTube videos. So here's one that I literally just Google searched and found. And it's a person doing this challenge with spaghetti noodles. I guess my internet's not working that well. But you can see him kind of start, he's using tape, right, which is allowed if that's one of your materials that you're going to allow yourself. And it looks like he kind of connected some noodles together. And you watch it, you get ideas for your challenge, right? That's the whole idea behind the background research, right? Is to try and get as much information as you can about your challenge. Okay, so I probably would add another video or maybe a picture, or you think about shapes or what's stronger. All of that goes in background. Pictures too. Okay. Then you create your hypothesis. The example I gave in our synchronous was about chocolate milk. Here's an example that I just made up about the spaghetti noodle tower, right? If I use 20 spaghetti noodles, but this can change, right? If I use 40 spaghetti noodles, it's up to you, okay, and after your background research to make your hypothesis. If I use 40 spaghetti noodles and 30 marshmallows, then I can construct a tower that is at least 40 inches tall, because each noodle is 12 inches, and I'll stack 4 on top of each other, right? If, I, then, because. The important thing to remember is that it has to be testable, okay? And in order to be testable, you have to have some measurement in there. So if you were doing the launcher or the catapult, right, you would write, if I use so-and-so materials, then I can construct a catapult that can launch a wad of tinfoil at least 50 centimeters or, 200 centimeters or whatever your hypothesis is. This is what you will share in your collaborative groups today, or during this week. And you'll talk about like, oh, is this a testable hypothesis? Do I need to change something? Do I need to re-experiment? But that is what the hypothesis should be, somewhere including something that you can test. Okay? You'll do the experiment itself on slide number 5 here, or your 4th slide. List all the materials, and then you need to have a detailed procedure, which is essentially, if someone were to do it, they could use your procedure to do exactly what you did, right? I laid out 30 noodles, put them in groups of 3, then connected them together. Maybe used tape, maybe used whatever. It's up to you. You can use whatever materials you want to complete the challenge. 3rd step, right? I attached marshmallows to each of the ends. Then I attached other marshmallows to the ones above to create squares, as detailed as you could be on the procedure. If you need to make your text smaller to fit procedure, that's fine. Okay, you'll get your results, right? Were you able to construct a tower that was, I don't even remember what I said, 40 inches tall, right? Did it tip over? Did it break? List the results. And importantly, please make sure that you include a picture, several pictures, or video of you completing the challenge or doing the experiment. And then the conclusion we'll work on in class, right? But you're going to answer these questions, at least 4 sentences, complete sentences about it, right? What did you learn? Was your hypothesis supported? Most of ours will not be, right? Most of us are not going to hit right the target that we kind of hypothesized. Some of us might, depending on how you wrote your hypothesis. And then what would you try differently next time and why, right? So there's a couple sentences to add to your 4. That's the challenge, okay? Your goal by the end of this week is to have all of this done, because you will present this in your collaborative group, right? Your group of 4 or 5 or whatever your group size is, but smaller group, you'll take turns going over your experiment, okay? The rest is going to really be taking place during synchronous time this week, okay? Because I think we're really meeting just once because of Labor Day, our ESS teams, and so we are going to try and get together in these collaborative groups. Okay, and I'm going to go over this on synchronous time, so I won't go into detail, but the whole goal of getting into a smaller group is to work with each other so that you can have a better understanding, right, of what's going on in class. Again, I'll go over all this in class. What you want to be aware of before you come is that you have a hypothesis and at least a question that you can ask your teammates, right? Maybe it's about the procedure, maybe it's about the experiment, maybe it's specific, maybe it's general, but come with one question that you can kind of share. The way these groups are going to work is that we will first join together, right? I'll have just the general meeting in teams started in our normal spot. Let's say, you're in Earth System Science and you're in the general chat, you've joined it. At some point, I will have us break out into our groups, okay? And so I have all of our groups listed down here in their channels in Teams. You will find your team or your group on, I didn't add it. Oh, no, here it is. On your Google Classroom post, right? So this is period 3, but if you're in period 7, then you'll have your own copy of this. You find your name, right? And that's your group. You'll go to Teams, and when I break us up, you're like, oh, find your team. Then you will go to the group, and the meet button will start the meeting, right? And if there's multiple, well, we'll be troubleshooting, but you should be able to join your group and be in a group of 3 or 4 or 5, okay? To wrap up this week, you have, again, essentially this week to complete everything on your STEM Challenge student slides, being ready to turn them in and present them the following week, okay? If you have questions about anything, please do not hesitate to send myself an email, right? Reach out. Make sure that you're not just sitting there without trying to seek help. If you have a question about your hypothesis or about your challenge, just send me an email. But we'll touch base this week in our scheduled time. And I look forward to seeing you guys. So talk soon.